Hello everyone, my name is Shahab Aslani. In this lecture, I'm going to present you the current work which has been done with the collaboration of Italian Institute of Technology, University of British Columbia, and Simon Fraser University. I'm going to share the screen. Yes, the title of our work is Scanner Invariant Multiple Sclerosis Lesion Segmentation from MRI. So I will start from to define the multiple sclerosis lesion. So MS lesion segmentation is one of the most important areas in the brain image analysis. This disease is a chronic autoimmune and demyelinating disease of the central nervous system, which later cause different kind of problem like disability in the human body. Recently, magnetic resonance imaging are the most important solution to visualize these kind of lesions from human brain. As you can see, these are the 4 examples of the different MRI modalities, which is in the flare modality. The regions with the highest contrast are related to the MS lesions. Here you can see the different visualization of the brain, including the MS lesions from different view in the 2D slices and the 3D view related to the flare modality, which shows that this lesion has different properties like different shapes, and it can appear in different locations in the brain, and which we will discuss later. So generally, we have 2 different approaches for segmenting MS lesions, manually and automatic methods. So automatic methods can be categorized in, with respect to research, can be categorized into image processing-based approaches, supervised and unsupervised, features, and thresholding methods. However, recently deep learning methods show excellent performance to segment these kind of images. So deep learning-based methods mainly are based on a CNN, convolutional neural networks, so with which we can categorize in patch-based segmentation, 2D slice-based segmentation, and 3D volume-based segmentation. These are some references related to the recent work that has been done with respect to these 3 approaches. However, there are some important challenges related to these in this task, and mainly related to deep learning based methods, so which I categorize them into 3 different groups: challenges related to the data set, the lesion itself, and manual segmentation. So since in this lesion is very specific lesions of the brain, it has a completely different shapes, starting from the 3 voxel to maximum one is a 10,000 voxel. The location also is different with respect to the different patients, and the intensity also is really close to some part of the brain, which makes this task difficult to identify lesions. Manual segmentation part is really tedious and time consuming because all the lesions are in 3D. So it will take a lot of time to segment these lesions. Plus, it's also includes the inter-observed variation. The most important challenges related to this task is the small size of data set. We have very few number of the samples and very few number of data sets related to MS lesion. Plus, we have domain variability with respect to data set, which means that since we have a different scanner in each center, so basically we have completely different data sets. So when you train your network in one data set, and when you test your network in another data set, also the data set is the brain images and data set is the MS lesion, but still the deep learning based method easily fail to generalize it because the data set has different properties, because scanners have different properties. To deal with this problem, we propose a generalization method to decrease or diminish this domain difference, which comes from the different data sets. our purpose is to generalize the backbone or traditional segmentation methods to remove this unnecessary information comes from the dataset. For this purpose, if we consider that this is the traditional encoder-decoder, which we have input, we have feature extractor part, and we have a segmentation part, our purpose is to add a regularization network, which the aim of this regularization part is to push the feature extractor part to forget unnecessary information which is stored in the input images, like the center ID or scanner ID. So basically, in this idea, in this network, we have the segmentation output, we have a classification output, classification related to the center of each input. So we try to push the normal encoder-decoder to forget this information during the training. How? So we will discuss next slide. Our network includes two different loss functions: segmentation loss function and regularization loss function. So for regularization part, we propose three different solutions to generalize our network. For segmentation loss, we use soft dice coefficient, which is actually proposed in 2016 in VNet. And it is very well known for segmentation and deep learning based method. But for regularization part, we use Pearson correlation coefficient loss, plus we use the modified or optimized version of the cross entropy loss function. So for Pearson correlation coefficient, we use we measure the correlation between the one hot vector output in the regularization part. Correlation between this, the ground truth one hot vector, and the output of the regularization part. In this case, we try to push network to forget this IDs comes from each input or this information. Using the same idea to push network to forget this information, we use cross entropy, but we modified version of the cross entropy. How? We call two different loss functions: randomized cross entropy and discrete uniform cross entropy. In randomized cross entropy, we shuffle the ground truth during each iteration. In that case, network will confuse to remember the correct ID of each input, and eventually it will not learn the input IDs, or the center IDs comes from the input. And the other solution which we propose is to use the uniformly distributed ground truth for this loss function. And eventually, again, we try to push network to not learn or we encourage network to remove this information, this ID or scanner information from the dataset, a specific dataset which comes from the input of the network. For evaluation, we used 117 subjects, which is gathered from 56 different centers. Each subject has 4 different modalities like T1, T2, PD, and FLAIR modalities. And the whole dataset has a manual segmentation ground truth with respect to the MS lesions. We did an experiment in our proposed network, and we compared with respect to backbone models. We implemented leave one center out cross validation using our proposed idea with auxiliary loss function, and we repeated the same experiment, removing this auxiliary network or additional network, and plus we also removed the regularization layer from the backbone model. Here, the backbone model actually is a unit, but without any regularization layer. And the BDM model also is a unit model with additional dropout layer. So we repeat exactly the same experiment to compare the performance with respect to the method that we propose. This is the quantitative result, and as you can see, the first 3 lines related to our proposed loss function, and the last 2 lines related to the backbone models. As you can see, the proposed idea with auxiliary loss function has a better dice and PPV, which shows that the output of the networks have overall a good overlap with respect to the ground truths. Moreover, with respect to LTPR and LFPR, our method shows the better trade-off between these 2 metrics. With respect to the qualitative result, this is the example of the qualitative result comes from the different methods. As you can see, in BDM method, we have an over-segmented lesion regions, which is also referred as a false positive, these blue regions, which inside these circles, the yellow circles. And if you compare the same slice in our proposed network, as you can see, our method correctly ignored this false positive. Moreover, comparing with the BM model, we have a missing small lesions in BM model, which is these green regions are related to false negatives. And successfully, our method could identify these small regions. This is also the overall segmentation outputs of our methods with 3 different loss functions compared with the other backbone models with respect to 3 different views, which actually it is also follows the same descriptions that I told you. This is also another result which shows the performance of our network during the training on validation set. As you can see, our model with randomized cross-entropy loss function gives better performance with respect to dice compared with both backbone model and backbone model plus dropout. And we have the same result if we just check the other loss functions, for example, the correlation coefficient loss function and discrete uniform loss function. We have our model has the same behavior if we use the other loss function as well. So as a conclusion, here the idea was to introduce a method to generalize the backbone model using the auxiliary loss function. So basically, we combine the traditional encoder-decoder segmentation network with additional network, which this additional network includes some auxiliary loss function. So this auxiliary loss function is responsible to remove or decrease or diminish this domain difference coming from the data set, and eventually it will resulting to generalize the model. And as you see in the result, we have significant improvement with respect to the segmentation performance if we add this additional auxiliary loss function with this additional network to our traditional segmentation model. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any question, so you can send email to me. I will be happy to help you to understand more. And yeah, thank you so much.